Hello everybody, it's JD again. Now, I've been sitting and listening to the Syria thing. Now, you all should by now know my policy. Respect the boundaries of a sovereign nation. It is the responsibility of the people within that nation to decide. Now, John Kerry talked about a hypocritical individual. After he was served in Vietnam and he had medals, he went to Congress, sat there to testify why the Viet Cong were killing whole villages of people. That would help the South Vietnamese military. They were in there killing villages of people, women, children, men, old men, and all that. And what did he do? He stood before Congress, pulled his medals out, and threw them at him. And said, we should not be in a war. That is not ours. That's what he said. John Kerry should not be standing there at all. He cannot justify him standing there, arguing for strikes, when what he said about Vietnam. Now, where was the American people in Cambodia when the Khmer Rouge was killing millions of people? Not 1,000, not 2,000, millions. I've seen pictures of walls built with just skulls of people that were killed by the Khmer Rouge. Oh, maybe they didn't use gas. They just cut their heads off. Bottom line is, what right do we have to go into Syria for any reason? Is an American endangered? Is American lives in danger? No. So we have two major problems there that have to be addressed. And me as president, they will be. One, the United States must learn to respect the sovereignty of a nation. And it is the people of the nation, not the United States, to decide how they shall be governed and what is acceptable and not acceptable. Two, our Constitution was written about the dangers of war. That one man could easily say something and then having to back it up because he said it cause us to enter into a major war. That's why war was only, the authority was given to Congress. Now the 90-day thing needs to be rewritten to state that the president can only use military force for 90 days prior to going to Congress if American lives are in danger. Let me give you an example. Grenada. The president went into Grenada to get the students out. American students. Anybody else wanted to go, that's fine, but only went there for the American students. That is a prime example where, yes, American military force should be used prior to. Tehran. The United States could have used those Americans in that embassy. In Beirut. In Libya. When those are justified American 90-day actions. Not because the world has declared weapons of mass destruction illegal, because if the world cannot enforce it or does not want to enforce it, It is not the United States' job. We are not the UN. Now, just because Obama said using gas, you cross the red line, there's an example of a president saying something, and now knowing that the strike is wrong, he still has to do it because he said it. Wrong answer. The correct answer is, if the UN does not want to enforce their own policy, it is not up to the people of the United States. If it's more dangerous, the UN will have to deal with it later on down the road. Is our allies hurt by it? No. Is Turkey hurt by what happened in Syria? No. Is Israel hurt by what happened in Syria? No. Then the United States has no right. If Syria uses gas and it gets into Turkey and kills some Turkish citizens, then yes, the United States has a right. If Syria uses the gas against Israel or Egypt or any one of our allies, then yes, the United States will have a right. But they went outside the boundaries of their sovereign nation, not staying within. Within the boundaries of the sovereign nation is the responsibility of the World Court and the UN. It's up to them to decide what needs to be done, not the President of the United States. I am dead serious. That 90-day thing about the president, when I become president, I will push to have it blanketly removed. And only when American citizens' lives are in danger. I'll give you a good example. Let's say in Egypt right now, they run over the American embassy. They let the Americans go. Say, go home. And then they take over their embassy. Well, really, it's not an embassy no more. So therefore, it's Egyptian land. And they let the Americans go. Fine. We don't need to have an embassy then. You see what I'm saying? But, in the case of Tehran, we had a spineless president, and that's what I'll call him, because he sure didn't resolve the situation. We had American lives that were in danger, and he couldn't even do a rescue right. He was too chicken. Should have went in there immediately with the force needed, secured the embassy, got the Americans out, and then left. And let the Iranians have the whole embassy. We didn't need it. Just another thing to add on to our tax bill. So, you see, that's how I look at it. It's up to us to start respecting the sovereignty of another nation. The sovereignty of Syria is not part of the United States. It's a civil war. We can support one side or the other, but we cannot use military might. Sorry, cannot be done. Oh, the president's got the 90 days. Yes, a mistake that has been given to him because it was not completely spelled out. It needs to be rewritten so the president knows that he can use it only when American lives are in danger. That's what the 90 days should say. See, I'm not wanting all this power. Our Constitution distributed power because it needed to be distributed. Look at how the Senate jumped on it. Oh, yes, we do it. We're going to do it. Yeah, we're going to. But the Congress, the House said no. There's nothing there. Well, Obama says, well, the world has set the standard, but the world does not wish to enforce their standard. It is not the responsibility of the United States of America to set the standard of the world. Maybe it's time the United States of America becomes an example to the world and respects the sovereignty of Syria. Maybe President Obama could get a lot more done if he says, I'd love to go in there and do a strike, but I'm going to have to respect the sovereignty of Syria. It's up to the Syrian people. Now, I'm willing to sit down with the president and the people and discuss this and hash this out, stop the shooting, and see what we can do. Or he could say, let's do military strike because I can do it. Now, let's see what other president said that I can do because I'm president. Oh, Nixon. See? That's the difference. If you remember 2008 campaign, Obama said a lot of things and said, peace, he's going to be the... And he's not. Why? Because he copied a lot of my videos, advertised them, and didn't know how to do it. He doesn't have it within him. Me, I know this. As President of the United States of America, my word, whatever it is, represents the American people. So I must choose it wisely. Now you might say, well, yeah, as president, I would have said, look, if you use gas against your people, how the UN decides, we will support 110%. If it means military strikes with all our military, it will happen. But it will be the UN's decision, not mine. It will be the world's decision, not mine. We will just help them. But if we disagree with them, well, then we have the right to say no. That's what I would have said. Never draw something that locks you in a corner as President of the United States. That's the gravest mistake you could make. And understand, the United States has to start recognizing the sovereignty of a nation. Whether we like it or not, how they perform or do their business, we have to respect it. If the world finds it to be of such that our assistance is needed, then it shall be. But we will not, just because we can, go into a nation and attack it. That is the most barbarous actions. I seem to remember an empire that did that. It's called Roman. We are not barbarians in this country. We are not warmongers. We do not believe in attacking for the pure sake of attacking because we disagree with what you may find in another nation to be normal. The world set the standard. Let the world enforce the standard. We will stand there. If the world does not wish to enforce it, then hey, is any American lives in danger? Nope. Is any American allies in danger? Nope. Hey, then it's up to the people in Syria. That's the way it goes. It's Syria's country. It's Syria's boundaries. It's Syria's sovereignty. It's up to the people in Syria. If they want us to help them settle it, I will be glad to sit down and talk with them. Because their problems, both from the rebels and from the president, can easily be solved. And completely and solidly resolved. But they just have to sit down and listen to each other. You know, sitting down and talking doesn't accomplish anything. It's when two people sit down and discuss what their problems are. Now, discussing could be hollering and yelling and ranting and raving and throwing your arms all around. But you're listening to the other guy. You're listening to the other girl. And through that, you two come to a mutual agreement or conclusion. Sounds like an argument, but it's not, because you're listening. War, arguments, is when they're hollering, yelling, ranting, and shooting at you, and not listening. To talk and not listening is a waste. Learned that a long time ago with music. How many people hear music but don't listen to the words? Have no idea what's said. Our songs of the late 60s had a lot to say, and people didn't listen to them. They heard the music, and they heard the words, but they didn't listen. And that's one problem the world has. It can hear the words, but nobody's listening. So bottom line, people, is my stance is this. Syria is a sovereign nation. Syria is at a civil war. We can support one side or the other, but we cannot intervene. We do not have the right to go into Syria with our military and attack. No American lives are in danger. No American allies are in danger. We have nothing to stand on. So therefore, Obama, you listened to me in 2008 a lot. It's time for you to sit up and say, hey, if the world don't want to enforce their own rules, it's not the job of the American people. And therefore, back down. And don't worry about, well, what happens next time, next time, next time. What do you think about this? Let's say you do attack now, and then they decide to use more gas on them. You're going to send in more troops, and then they decide to even be worse, use the nuclear weapon on them somewhere. What are you going to do? Next time can get worse and worse. How about stopping these things and start saying, hey, the United States, from this day forward, is going to respect every single nation in the world, and I include North Korea, and their sovereign right to exist. But we will defend the rights of our allies to also exist, and that we will defend the lives of every single American. That is where we should stand. Now, yes, I'm a candidate for 2016 only if you want it, the people. And to do that, you have to get signatures saying you want J.D., James Dennis Crivo, for president, and his name to be on the ballot in 2016. And that needs to be sent into the Federal Election Commission. We have to turn the United States around. We, you, me, and everybody in this nation can do it. The middle class needs to start running this country again, not the upper percent. They're for the business world. The nation is the people's. Thank you for your time. This is JD, and here is my stance on Syria. It's a sovereign nation, and we shall respect their rights. It's up to the UN to decide what to do, not the United States. Thank you. Have a nice day. This is JD.